Rain lashed against the cracked windows of the roadside bar, the kind of place where the jukebox was older than most of its patrons and the smell of whiskey had long since become part of the walls. The door swung open with a low creak, letting in a gust of cold wind, and her. A woman in a worn leather jacket, clutching a backpack that looked like it had seen too many bus rides and too few destinations. She had the look of someone running from something, or maybe, someone trying not to look back. Her eyes scanned the room and landed on him. The biker in the corner. The Hells Angels patch glimmered faintly under the flickering light, his tattoos a map of sins and stories untold. Their eyes met for only a second, but that second carried the weight of everything she swore she'd never feel again. "I'm not here to fall in love," she said flatly when he offered her the empty seat beside him. He just smiled, slow and knowing, like a man who'd already lived through all the things she was trying to avoid. "Then you're already halfway to making the biggest mistake of your life," he said, and that's how it began, the story of a woman who came to forget and a man who'd forgotten how to hope. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not in a bar like this. Not sitting across from a biker whose hands looked like they'd built and broken more engines and hearts than she could count. Her name was Lily. She was a journalist once, chasing truth for a living, until truth came crashing into her own home the night she lost her fiancé in a car wreck. The ring still hung around her neck, cold against her skin, like a reminder of a promise that never got spoken. She'd been traveling ever since, city to city, story to story, trying to forget her own, and Jake, the biker, wasn't supposed to talk to her either. He didn't do small talk. He didn't do feelings. He'd spent 15 years riding with the Hells Angels, living by the road and the rules that came with it. The club was his family after life had taken everyone else. But lately, the road felt quieter, emptier. Like he'd been chasing a ghost he couldn't name. That night, she told him she was just passing through. "Few days," she said. "I'm writing a story about people who live outside the law." Jake raised an eyebrow. "That's supposed to be me?" "Maybe," she said. "If you don't scare me off first." He chuckled, a deep rumble that felt more alive than anything she'd heard in months. "Sweetheart, I don't scare people. Life does that all by itself." But she stayed. And over the next few days, something shifted. She'd find herself sitting on the back of his Harley, hair whipping in the wind, watching the endless road stretch like freedom itself. He showed her the world through his eyes, the silence of desert highways, the strange brotherhood of men who spoke in loyalty instead of words, and the way the night sky could heal wounds you didn't even know you had. And she showed him something he hadn't felt in years, what it meant to be seen, not as an outlaw, but as a man. Yet love, if that's what it was, doesn't come without ghosts. One evening, a rival club showed up in town. Old debts. Older grudges. Jake got dragged back into a world Lily didn't understand, one where loyalty demanded blood. She begged him to walk away, to start over somewhere no one knew his name. "I can't," he said quietly, eyes full of regret. "This life, it's not something you leave. It leaves you." She felt her heart breaking all over again, the same way it did the night she lost her fiancé. "Then you'll die chasing something that doesn't love you back." "Maybe," he said. "But it's the only thing I've ever known." That night, when the rumble of bikes echoed through the valley, Lily thought she'd lost him for good, but Jake came back. Bloodied, limping, but alive. He didn't say much, just handed her his cut, the patched leather vest every Hells Angel swore they'd be buried in. "I'm done," he said. "You were right. This thing, it doesn't love me back. But maybe you could." She froze. For the first time in years, she didn't know how to run. "I told you," she whispered, voice trembling, "I'm not here to fall in love." "I know," he said, stepping closer, the weight of his past falling away like dust. "But sometimes, love finds you anyway." Weeks passed. The road that once belonged to him now belonged to them. He fixed bikes at a small-town garage. She wrote stories that didn't hurt anymore. Sometimes, at night, she'd trace the scars on his hands, and he'd tell her about the miles he left behind. And though neither of them said it out loud, they both knew love hadn't come easy. It had come through pain, loss, and a lifetime of walls breaking brick by brick. One evening, as the sunset bled into the horizon, Jake asked, "You still wearing that ring?" She touched her necklace, the one that had once held a ghost. Then she unclasped it, placed it in his palm, and said, "I think it's time to let go." He closed his hand around it, eyes soft. "Guess we both found something worth keeping." She smiled through tears. I told you I wasn't here to fall in love. He kissed her forehead gently. Yeah. But I never promised I wouldn't make you. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of rain and gasoline, the two things that had brought them together. And somewhere, in that quiet space between thunder and heartbeats, they both realized something: love doesn't ask for permission. It just happens. When you finally stop running. By the time the credits would roll on their story, the message would linger: you can run from love, from pain, from the ghosts of who you used to be, but the heart always finds a way home. And sometimes, home isn't a place. It's a person brave enough to stay when you said you wouldn't fall.